I've been asked on numerous occasions to make more guides on this channel, and one of the most requested ones was a guide to farming. I always like to stray away from guides because I generally consider myself not very good at the game, but farming is something that I've done quite a lot of recently, and I feel like I've gotten a much better grasp on it than I have a lot of other areas of the game, so I felt confident enough that I could guide people through it. That being said, the goal of this video is to try to walk you through and give you a better understanding of how farming works and what you need to do to progress through it. Now, because my knowledge is not infinite, and I can talk off the cuff about farming, but I'm only going to get about 80% of the stuff right if I do that. I wrote a script, and I had it peer-reviewed so that I can get it as accurate as possible. So that being said, I'll be starting with the assumption that you know absolutely nothing about farming in this game. So, welcome to Hypixel Skyblock. You won't enjoy your time here. If you're watching this video, then you're probably above Skyblock level 5 and have unlocked the garden. What is the garden, though? Good question. First, let's get you there. At Skyblock level 5, an NPC named Sam will appear on your island at a random location. Go to the coordinates provided in chat and go click on the NPC. After some dialogue, you'll be taken to the garden. Sam will send you through a little quest line introducing you to the various systems of the garden. I will quickly cover them. Plots are where you build your farms. We'll go into some more optimal designs later. They're unlocked with various amounts of compost. You can get compost from the composter. By giving it fuel and crops, preferably enchanted seeds since they are the most optimal, it will slowly produce compost. It is not a bad idea to have this running at all times, as it is some passive income that requires very little effort. Skymart, milestones, plots, and crop milestones can be accessed through the desk. Skymart is a place where you can buy various upgrades and amenities for your garden. Lastly, visitors. These are how you will get the majority of your garden XP and how you will reach Garden 15 as quickly as possible. Each visitor asks for a certain amount of crops in exchange for some farming XP, copper, and garden XP. Additionally, visitors are extremely good for leveling farming quickly. It is a good idea to always accept them with a rapid equipped. Now, you may be tempted to decline visitors since they take a lot of your profits, but trust me, they're worth accepting. Other than Spaceman, I hate that thing with a burning passion. It can go die, jump off a cliff, all those things. Kill it with fire. Now that we've covered the basics, we can begin. Starting out, you will have one plot cleared from the quest line with carrots and wheat unlocked. Use either one of these crops. The carrot hoe is a bit cheaper though. You will also need a hoe to farm with. You can get one by buying a mathematical hoe blueprint from Jacob for a gold medal, and then surrounding it with the crop that you want the hoe for. If you do not have a gold medal, you can convert lower tier metals into a gold one, or buy a hoe from the AH. I wouldn't get anything above a T2 for the time being, as there are better crops to farm. After pasting a plot and farming it for a little while, you will start gaining crop milestones, which gives you farming and garden XP. As you gain XP, your garden will start to level up fairly quickly. This will unlock new crops to farm. At garden level 6, you will unlock melons, which as of recording is the best crop to farm. It is basically tied with wheat in terms of best money per hour, but melon is a bit better since it is cheaper to get a setup for than wheat. But at the end of the day, there is not a wrong crop to farm, unless it's wort. Now that you're a little bit more into farming and have a better grip on it, let's go over the gear you'll need to progress through. At farming level 25, you will gain access to melon armor. It can be crafted at Melon Collection 9 or bought off the AH for pretty cheap. You can also purchase the full Lotus equipment set from Skymart for a little bit of copper. At farming level 30, you can upgrade to Crappie armor, at 35 Squash armor, at 40 Fermento. You also not want to use the boots of any of these sets, as you will be using Rancher's boots. These allow you to cap your speed to allow for more precise farming. They also give you farming fortune based on your farming level. So to recap, your setup will be 3/4 of whatever the highest armor set available to you is, plus Rancher's boots and full Lotus equipment. You should also try to recom these as soon as possible. You will also need to add a reforge. For armor, your options are Bustling, which can be purchased from Skymart, and Mossy, which comes from the Overgrown Grass, which is a rare drop from visitors and is pretty expensive. If you have the money, you can go for Mossy, but if not, Bustling is fine. For equipment, you have the Rooted Reforge. It is applied via Burrowing Spores, which are a rare drop from farming mushrooms. They're not incredibly expensive, so I would recommend getting them. Also for the equipment, there is an enchantment called Green Thumb. It can be purchased from Skymart for copper or bought from the bazaar for a few mil. You should try to get level 3 of it on all pieces as a start. The higher levels will really not be worth it as of yet. The farming tools progression is not quite as straightforward as the gear. Essentially, you want to max out the tool for whatever crop you farm most. Although at the end of the day, you will need a good tool for every crop in order to participate in Jacob's contests. I will ultimately leave the decision of which tools to max up to you. The only thing I need to mention is what reforge to use. There's not really a wrong answer, just different uses. Blessed gives the most farming fortune and should be used if you're struggling with contests. Bountiful gives a small amount of coins for every crop broken, which adds up to around an additional 1 mil per hour. power. Starting out, either one is a fine choice, but later into farming, 10 farming fortune won't matter as much, so bountiful will be better. Lastly, pets. There are 5 pets for farming as of recording: the rabbit, elephant, mushroom cow, bee, and slug. The rabbit grants 60 farming wisdom at level 100. The elephant is the best pet for farming fortune to a point. It grants 150 farming fortune at level 100. The mushroom cow, after a certain point, is the best pet for farming fortune and money. It'll always be better for money no matter the fortune, but at 1160 strength, it will tie the elephant's fortune. The bee is a very early game pet for farming fortune and XP, granting 30 of each at level 100. If you don't have the money for an elephant, this is a good alternative. Lastly is the slug. This I will cover in the section on pests. There are 2 pet items you can use: the yellow bandana, which can be purchased from Skymart and grants 30 farming fortune, and the green bandana, which grants 4 fortune per garden level you have. The green bandana beats the fortune from the yellow bandana at garden level 8, so anytime before that, stick with yellow. Next up, we have farms. The most optimal farm is a little hard to come by and is updated every now and then, but I will show you farm designs that are about as close as it gets to the best as of recording. I'll go over the designs that I use personally, as well as the most optimal way to place them. There are 2 players I would recommend visiting to see good farms. Number 1, Melon King DE. They have all the best farms built on their garden that you can copy. The only downside is that they use every plot, but they can be compressed. Second is me. Go to my garden to see mostly the same designs as Melon King DE, just using 14 plots instead of 24. My farms are slightly outdated since the pest update, but are not bad by any means. I would say copy Melon King DE's farms, but put them in my configuration. Good farms rely on the amount of blocks broken per second to determine their efficiency, and all these farms come very close to the max. Also, on a side note, if you visit anyone to see their farms and they happen to be using them, please do not bother them by getting in the way. That way we can keep garden visits open so people can copy farms. Now we need to talk about pests. They are annoying. Pests are added to your garden at level 5 as a way to make farming a slightly more active experience. They have a chance of spawning while farming after 5 minutes have passed since the last pest spawn. They drop some things that can make a little extra money and give you some more farming fortune the more you kill. Also, instead of magic find, they use farming fortune to determine your drop chance on certain items. You can talk to pest hunters Philip and Pamela to get different things. Pamela will show you how to attract pests with different sprays. Philip will give you a vacuum to use on pests. You can exchange said pests with him for a 30-minute increase to your farming fortune. He also offers 3 talismans, 1 in 25 pests exchanged, 100 and 250 pests exchanged. Your vacuum can be upgraded at Skymart using copper for everything but the final upgrade, which needs copper and a chirping stereo. At the final tier, you can slot music discs, which attract different types of pests depending on what is selected. Also in Skymart, you can purchase pest repellent, which will make pests spawn every 20 minutes instead of 5 for the next 60 minutes. It's useful if you need to get a contest done or just don't want to deal with them. Don't use it a ton though, since pests do have a chance of making a decent amount of money. Now, if you want as many pests as possible to maximize your money or want to go for bestiary, there are some things you can do. First of all, use the sprayinator on every plot that you'll be farming in. You can also use the max vacuum to increase your pest chance. Additionally, adding the pest terminator enchant to mushroom armor and placing a night saver on your garden, although that is really overkill and should only be used if you're grinding bestiary. Putting pest terminator on fermento is fine. The pest hunter artifact provides an additional 60 pest chance. Lastly, the slug pet will give 40 pest chance at level 100. Visitors, they're a requirement for progressing quickly in the garden. They spawn every 15 minutes but can be bumped down to 12 minutes with unique visitors served. Their timer will also advance faster when you're actively farming. You start out with very few of them unlocked. To unlock them, you simply need to talk with them / complete their quest. A few visitors of note that are either difficult or annoying to unlock are Beth. She is found in the Mushroom Desert and will visit the player 3 times before giving them coordinates to Jake's lab, which will result in a talisman. The Royal Resident. You'll need to sit next to this NPC for 7 hours to unlock it as a visitor. You can just sit on a rock pet and go AFK, to be honest. It's really not hard, it just takes a while. Also do this at the risk of your sanity. Pete and Zalx both are lost visitors found in the Crystal Hollows at random locations. You can join Mining Cult, which there should be an invite link on screen, and go to the Lost Visitors channel to see when people find them. Spaceman is by far the hardest NPC to unlock and have visit, needing Garden 15 and 75 unique visitors served and only having a 0.04% chance to visit you. Accepting unique visitors and certain amounts of visitors will reward you with Garden XP and farming fortune at milestones, so it is a good idea to accept any visitor you come across. And now the fun part. We will go over how to maximize farming fortune. Pardon me while I rant for a moment. To get the theoretical max farming fortune, you will need Fermento with Rancher's Boots, Mossy, Pesterminator 5, and Recomped, a maxed out farming farming tool, or a Kime 5 day axe. Mushroom cow with all talismans in order to maximize strength reforges, and green bandana. Fermento artifact, Anita's artifact. Atmospheric filter, 24 plots unlocked. Max milestone in the same crop as the maxed farming tool. Max pest bestiary. Max crop upgrades. As high of a personal best as possible in your desired crop. Max Anita shop. 5,000 visitors accepted. All unique visitors. Lotus equipment recommed with green thumb 5. Farming 60. Community shop fortune upgrades. Strength enrichments. Cake. As many pest exchange with filth as possible. And a harvest harbinger 5 potion. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I am pretty sure that's everything. And finally, I have covered all aspects of the garden. So here's a more generalized overview of progression. You start out with nothing. Complete quests and buy a few hoes to level up your garden a bit. Buy your first few armor sets, get Fermento around garden 10 to 12, and some other general gear. Better pets, more money, more gear. Mid-max your gear with some mossy and green thumb 3. Grind for a couple hundred hours, hit garden 15 and farming 60. Hypermax your gear like a psychopath. Grind for another 1,000 hours and get all max milestones, and then you're done. This last paragraph was more of a joke than anything, but that kind of is how the farming progression ends up going. Anyways, on a final note, if you are still somewhat confused by this video, which I hope you aren't, it would mean I did a bad job on making this, but if you still are confused, you can /PV Endthr, spelled ENDTHR, and look at my farming gear, since mine is very close to max. That being said, thank you for watching. I hope it helped. Like, subscribe, all those things. That's about it. Go watch another video. I make entertaining content. At least some people think so.